Coach, start with an opening statement, and then if you could please raise your hand, I'll call on you. If you aren't one of our regulars, please introduce yourself beforehand.
Obviously disappointing afternoon for us. I think the first thing you got to do is credit Coach Spore and Alabama for the way they played. I mean, they took it to us, and they left no doubts in that second half. And so, hats off to them. We knew coming into this would be a game won on third downs and one in the red zone. And those are two areas we've been really good at, particularly on offense. And I think on both sides of the ball, we struggled on third down tonight. I think you got to give Simpson a lot of credit for extended plays and conversion downs. Obviously, the fourth and 7 conversion was huge in the first half. That led to a touchdown, but he's a good player. Made more plays than we made tonight on third down, and offensively, we seem to never get rhythm, especially in the second half. So too many 3 and outs, and that allowed them to take the time of possession. And that I'm not sure where that ended, but that was not close. We felt the effect of that late. They were able to establish run game, and ultimately wore us out and came away with the win. I think also the red zone performance was a challenge too. We had 2 turnovers down there. I felt the defense. I didn't always love the way the ball got down into the red zone, but I felt like the defense fought for every blade of grass and forced field goal attempts and put us in position to kind of stay within one possession until the end there. But we weren't able to generate enough offensively to make that matter. So tough afternoon, and like I told the team, we don't like the feeling, but we earned the feeling, and so now we have to understand why it's meant for us, what we need to learn from it. We don't feel like there are any mistakes, and so the plays were out there to be made, and we didn't make them. And so we're gonna learn from it, and we'll move on from it.
Graham.
Coach, just 9 rushing yards in the second half, 119 total yards in the second half. From your vantage point, do you attribute that more to Alabama's defensive adjustments, or maybe a lack of rhythm, or what do you see from that?
I felt like space was hard to come by. We weren't able to generate the separation in the front that we were. Obviously, we had the early success with Seti's big run, but they played really well up front. And I got to watch the game film to know exactly why we weren't able to create the space. I thought we had good plays that just got the space got collapsed at the line of scrimmage. So that was a challenge. There were some critical drops on conversion downs that I think again when you're playing 3 and out, and I don't know how many snaps we had in the second half, but it did not feel like many. When you're playing 3 and out, you're not giving yourself a chance to be explosive, and so it's gonna feel like you can't move the ball, right? Because you're not getting to that second set of downs, and you're not able to extend, and you're not able then to get the defense on the heels and get the ball up and in the air. So we'll look at the film and learn from it, but obviously the inability to move the ball in the second half kept us from really keeping the game within reach, and ultimately kept us from the result.
Joey.
You mentioned the red zone performance. That's somewhere you guys have been really good before today, and just kind of what you attribute that to, and how uncharacteristic is that of your group?
Well, I attribute it to the turnovers. One was on a rush, and one was on a throw. And we'll have to look at it. We're going to make mistakes. Obviously, in a game like today, those mistakes become critical errors. But yeah, we got to protect the ball down there. We got to come away with points, and I think we're going to be just fine. I don't want to sit here and overanalyze it, because ultimately it wasn't our night and we didn't play well enough down there. But the turnovers were what to me killed our red zone performance. And other than the turnovers, I thought we got down there. We were able to score a couple times. Whatever it was our offense. But we got to be smart with the ball.
Steve.
Look, you've won a lot putting the ball in Diego's hands and all those turnovers. What did you see specifically from him today that how costly were they to your mission of playing in front in the game?
Well, yeah, there's gonna be some good and obviously some plays we want back. And I just told Diego in the locker room, there's no one else I want playing quarterback taking snaps, so, the one turnover, the fumble, we're gonna look at the ball security element of that and just, he's extending the play and I believe the defender came from the blind side where he was able to get his hand on the ball. The throw, to me felt a little forced, trying to make a play, pressing to make a play. But all that stuff, I mean, look, we got everything we want out in front of us. We have a good team, and that team held the line, didn't play well enough to win tonight, and obviously that last score burns because, it feels bad, but at the end of the day, we like our team. We gotta learn from tonight. Tonight was meant for us, so we accept the pain of it and we learn and move on. And, man, am I glad Diego Pavia is our quarterback, so that hasn't changed.
Gentry.
Mark, how big do you think it was that Red Bull Giants scored at halftime as quickly as they did? And then coming out of the locker room, would you have liked to have seen more of a commitment to try to run the ball there, maybe these first couple of drives?
Well, the end of half score was tough, to your point, and I felt like we had just gotten back rhythm offensively. From the first turnover, I think we were stalling out a little bit. Defense held the line for us, but we scored to go up 14-7, and it's almost like there's an opportunity there for us to drain the clock out maybe, but we scored quickly. They were out of timeouts at that point, and so we scored quickly. A minute 30 left, and I felt like we absorbed some yards through that. Obviously, the touchdown pass was a chunk play. We needed to get a chance to get them off schedule, and without timeouts, pressure on the quarterback or a sack makes it really hard for them to function. We just weren't able to do it. Well, that was a big moment, but again, Gentry, to me, you come into half at 14-14 with possession coming out in the second half. We had done what we needed to do to hold serve there. It's our game coming out. We got to go drive and score. And in that first drive, I'm pretty certain we were 3 and out.
You got
One first down, right? And then it was 4 and out. And I believe there was a drop in there too. And so I think they were able to load the box up, and they made running space really hard. We needed to hit some of those plays that we missed on to be able to kind of loosen the box up and give us a chance. And then once we got 2 scores behind, we had to commit to throw the ball. I was not pleased with the penalties at the end too. I thought that was dumb football. We got to play smarter than that. And so you look at all those things, and hey, we have a good team, but we're not good enough to play the way we played on third down, particularly offensively, to play the way we played in the red zone. And there are real lessons for us in that. Those are things we can correct too, because those are execution areas. So, what is our leverage defensively? How are we covering the routes? I think on one of the conversions, our inside leverage player fell down and they completed a dig on 2-man. That shouldn't happen. So, we'll study it and we'll find ways to get better from it.
Last row in the Navy.
Sharon Cooper, WST4. It felt like you guys were kind of owning the line of scrimmage offensively in the first half. How do you feel like that changed in the second?
Well, yeah, space was hard. I felt like they were able to, we had some good plays. One, I remember we were to a 9 technique running a quarterback blast play, and it felt like we had the leverage. The play was made from the backside, and it was someone who won their point of attack, and they were able to get in the backfield. So I think you have to credit Alabama for the way they played up front. I think that's the first thing. Those guys beat us on both sides of the line of scrimmage, particularly in the second half. And then, we got to look, schematically and tactically, what are the ways that we need to get the ball in space, and how could we have found the play that could have unlocked some rhythm offensively that allowed us to get the ball, again, in the air. But, a credit to them, and we'll know more about the specifics of the play when we watch the film.
Aria, last question to Billy.
Yeah, what did you see on that overturned scoop and score play that y'all had?
I saw, that he was down, you know, I mean, I thought that was, I appreciated the fact that they let the play go, you know, but, they got it right when they overturned it. You know, again, you bring that one up, I mean, you know, you feel like they were able to get 2 turnovers, we were able to get 1, and, you know, we're 1 turnover short. It's just like everything was just like, just a little short of where we needed to be, to win a game like that. And we have a good enough team to win a game like that. We did not play well enough, tonight to get it done.
Last one to Billy.
Coach, what did your defense show you tonight? Obviously, Simpson had some chunk plays through the air, but what did you like positively, negatively, especially heading into a bye week, specifically on defense?
I mean, I love the way we fought. I thought, again, they had, I think, 3 field goals in the game, missed 1. You know, that's going to win you games when you're able to force field goals and then drives. I felt like sometimes we conceded some space to them, and they were able to find the space. Again, I credit their quarterback for staying alive in the pockets. Sometimes those are like off rhythm throws where, you know, we're in zone coverage, and as the play extends, because our rush has been negated, someone's going to run open in the zone, you know, and so you have to give him credit. I think that's what makes him a really good player, and he's been kind of stepping into this rhythm and chemistry here lately. It's helping them perform at a high level offensively, but he played better than we rushed tonight, and we'll have to look at those things and find ways to improve. Whether that's adding someone into the rush, you know, how are we attacking protections? You know, we'll look at the phone. But I love the resilience of the defense. Outside the last touchdown, I did not like that, but I don't think it was for lack of effort. I thought they were resilient tonight. I thought they kept us in it when we were stalling out offensively, and we just didn't have enough there at the finish to get a score and to make it interesting.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.